Hi, my name is Jennifer Jackson. I will be teaching you the Collections Merit Badge, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we're going to do a couple of preliminary things in this video today, and that will help you get ready for the class that we'll be teaching this week. So take a moment, watch the video, and start thinking about what you'd like to do for your collection. If you don't already have one, we'll give you some ideas so that maybe you will. All right, I'm going to open up a PowerPoint presentation, so stay tuned and stand by. Give me just a moment and I'll get that started. Okay, hopefully you are seeing the Collections Merit Badge cover that looks just like this one. And we're going to get started. All right, we're just going to talk first about what the requirements are, and then we'll get into a little bit of samples and give you some ideas of what you'll need to do for that. So, requirement one, and if you're not familiar, on the inside of the merit badge pamphlet, the requirements are listed right there on those first few pages, okay? So requirement one says, prepare a short written report or outline for your counselor, giving a detailed description of your collection. Include a short history. Be sure to include why you chose that particular type of collecting and what you enjoy and have learned from your collection. This footnote is really important. For your collection, for the collection merit badge, you cannot use stamp collecting or coin collecting because Scouts BSA offers separate merit badges for both of those collections, okay? So they're not eligible. We'd like you to prepare this report for our virtual Zoom collections fair, and that's going to be on Friday. If we finish up sooner, we might actually do it on Thursday. So let's see how this goes, okay? You may want to have some notes. You may want to have a PowerPoint. You may want to make a poster to make sure you answer all the questions, okay? Great, so excited. All right, so you're thinking, well, I don't really have a collection. What could I collect? I've done this merit badge probably 6 different times with different troops in the area, and I've been really amazed to see what people come up with. So I've just listed here a couple of different things that people collect. Some of them are adults, and some of them are things that young people collect. So everything from art to silverware to baseball cards, Pokemon cards, any kind of trading cards, Barbie dolls, bottle caps, beer cans, rare books, cars. Hopefully you don't have a car collection yet, but adults do. Action figures, travel. Some people have a collection to go to as many states as they can, to go to all 50 states. Maybe you want to go to as many countries as you can. Toys, sports memorabilia, shoes, clothes, magazines, postcards, hair. There really is a collection for hair. Star Wars or Star Trek memorabilia, movie posters, CDs, DVDs, vinyl records, national park stamps. You can actually, instead of getting stuff and buying stuff, you can get a little book. They call it a national park passport. And every time you go to a different national park, they'll stamp it. And that's a nice way to have a souvenir without collecting a bunch of stuff that needs to be put on display. Scout patches. If you're a scout and you go to a jamboree, everyone loves to collect patches. Video games, matchbooks, comic books, games, movies, DVDs, Matchbox or Hot Wheels cars, Pez dispensers, Olympic pins, high school yearbooks, t-shirts, movie ticket stubs, candy wrappers. You get the idea. You can collect just about anything you can imagine. I would love to tell you that 2 of my favorite collections that I've seen while teaching this one scout had a Monopoly game collection. There are so many different versions of Monopoly board games. There's everything from scouts to your university, your sports team. There's SpongeBob SquarePants, you name it, there's a Monopoly game for that. That was really interesting. The most unusual one I saw was a collection of barbed wire. And I did not know that barbed wire came in so many variations. So you might want to take a moment and Google that and check it out because it was very interesting. So here is a story of one Scout's collection. The history of my Crazy Bones collection. So Crazy Bones well, this was several years ago. This was probably 10 years ago, at least. So I don't know if Crazy Bones are still popular, but they were popular 10 years ago. The original Crazy Bones is from ancient Greece and Rome, and they were called astragal or knuckle bones, and they were made from using sheep's knuckle bones. Crazy Bones, the one you're seeing in the picture, it's a modern version of that gained from ancient Greece and Rome, but the characters are made out of molded plastic. Crazy Bones was started in the United States in this plastic form by Peter Gantner in 1996. So it's interesting. Look at the different items, and there's a little box, there's a little container, there's like a little suitcase to store it in, and even Crazy Bones stickers. So this scout reported, I started my Crazy Bones collections when my older brother's friend sold me his set that he had outgrown. So he went on eBay to determine a fair price and thought his set was worth $50 or so. I agreed. I paid him $50. I might have overpaid him, but it's okay. I played with them a lot. I learned a great deal about my collection. When you play with something you're collecting, you decrease its value. I bought extra Crazy Bone sets and opened them. They would have been worth more if I had left them inside their original packages. My storage case is another problem. It was great for a toy and for playing, but I added all sorts of Crazy Bones stickers on it, which reduced its value. I might just save this or try to resell it on eBay. It would be fun to get in touch with this scout and find out if he sold it or he kept it. So that's a really common thing I hear about collections, especially baseball card collections or action figures. The minute you take it out of the package and start playing with it, you've pretty much decreased its sales value or its collectible value once you've done that. Another scout had a collection I thought was really fascinating. This scout collected playbills from Broadway shows he had seen. He loved the theater, and he would go with his parents or his grandmother any chance he could. Like, you know, whenever they asked him, what do you want to do for your birthday? I want to go see a Broadway show. And so he would collect and save the playbill, and that's the program from the Broadway play. This value, or the value of this collection, is purely sentimental, and each playbill brought back a great memory to this scout. And while it may not have a monetary value, like I don't think you could go on eBay and sell it, who can put a price on memories? He had a great time. This is what he really, really loved to do. And I think it's wonderful to have a collection that's sentimental. Another thing is, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is how you display your collection. And I showed, let's go back. This person, and this isn't the Scouts display. This is, I just pulled this picture off the internet, but this person has it as an artistic display on like a clothesline with clothespins. You know, maybe it's in their bedroom or their apartment, but it's artistic. This person went the next step higher and framed each individual playbill in a simple black frame and turned it into art. So that happy memory of going to see that show is something that you can look, that the scout can look at and have the happy memory return. So it's really nice to take something like that and turn it into art. The next thing you're going to need to do when you give your presentation of your collection is you need to explain the growth and development of your collection. Why did you get started? What made you interested in your collection? I gave you a little bit of background on those two scouts and their collections. They went and answered all the questions that you need to answer, all the requirements that are in the book. But there was more to it than what I just kind of mentioned. I just gave the summary. I also spoke to an adult baseball card collector, and he actually loaned me a couple pieces that I could share with you. And I don't know if I'll be able to show them to you very well on this video, but definitely during our Zoom, I'll have some samples to show you, and that might be a little easier. This collector collected 1974 PSA Topps baseball cards. Okay, so there's a box. You can see that picture on the slide on the screen, and that is what it looks like. He collected them for I don't know how many years, and he ended up with the #1 collection. And what he told me, and I thought this was really interesting, he said, like many kids, I started collecting baseball cards when I was 8 years old. I played with some, I saved some, I bought entire boxes of them, then I put them in my closet and forgot about them. What's interesting about this is he told me that a lot of kids, for some reason, if they're going to collect baseball cards, they start at 8 years old. So if I ask an adult and they say, I know my mom threw away my baseball card collection. It was worth so much. And if they tell me what year their baseball card collection was, I can do the math and take that as 8 years away and go, oh, I know how old you are. And it's almost always true. 8 years old baseball card collection. Who knew? So this same owner had the cards officially graded, and PSA, I forgot what it means off the top of my head, but that is the professional sports uh, grading card. There's another company that does a grading as well, but this is the one that this collector used. And the #1 card, meaning each card has a number, and I think he said there's like 675 cards, something like that, in this 1974 set. And when you buy them like this, they're just paper. So here's an example. Can you see this? That's just a normal paper card like it would be in that box. But in order to get it graded, you want to send it off to PSA. And this is, let me turn it right side up. This is a Hank Aaron card. This one is actually, can you see that up there? I'll show this live, but this is only a #1 out of 10 possible, and it says it's a 1974 Topps Hank Aaron all-time home run king. And it's card #1, which means it was the first in the series, and this one only has a rating of poor to fair. It's a grade #1. And the reason is there's a cut in it, there's a stain. The cut is probably where someone took their stack of cards and put the rubber bands around them. That happened a lot. But can you see it's nice and thick and plastic? Okay, so as an adult, this collector started buying and selling cards on eBay in about 2003. And he also went to baseball card conventions. That's something that actually exists. He bought raw sets, like the picture here, that's called a raw set, and he had them graded at PSA. Slowly and with a lot of time, effort, and energy and investment, I was able to build my set to the #1 award-winning set for 1974 Topps baseball cards. All right, so that's kind of an interesting thing. He did it through eBay, through chat boards, through PSA chat boards. He went to baseball card conventions, both locally and nationally, and he managed to get top cards. Okay, and it was interesting. He to show the difference between all the different rankings of the Hank Aaron #1 card, and that doesn't mean it's the best. It just means it's the first card in the series. He basically got them all graded from 1 to 10. Oh, sorry, not #10. In fact, it only goes up to #7. And he told me a couple reasons. He said it doesn't exist a #10. It might, since he had this collection graded, but it rarely exists because it's the first. And when people have a collection, they'll put them in order. All right. So since #1 is always on the end, and there's a rubber band around it, it gets damaged. Another reason is there may not have been as many Hank Aaron cards printed, so there's fewer chances to get a perfect card. And then another reason is baseball cards, they don't print them one at a time. what they do is they have this huge sheet. Imagine a big poster board, and each poster board has 132 different baseball players on that sheet. And then they run them through the rollers to print them. And when they cut them, there are certain spots on that sheet that, for whatever reason, the way it hits the gears on the printing machine, that you rarely get a perfect card. And apparently the Hank Aaron card, for whatever reason, whether it was because it's number 1, because there weren't as many printed, or because of the location on the big sheet, there's not a number 10, okay? If there were a number 10 and it doesn't exist, it might be worth, his guess was $10,000 for one card, but it doesn't exist. He said he thinks that a number 9 card is the best that there is, and that's worth $750. So what a difference. If you have, go look at your baseball cards. If you have a 1974 Topps Hank Aaron's in gem mint perfect condition, that's a lot of money. So that's a lot of fun. It's a great thing to learn. All right, so then requirement 3 says demonstrate your knowledge of preserving and displaying your collection. Explain the precautions that you need to take to preserve your collection, including handling, cleaning, and storage. All right, so we already talked about the handling. If you don't play with something, if you leave it in its original packaging, you have a better chance. All right. Cleaning with a baseball card, let's not clean it because the chemicals would ruin it. Storage, you'd want to store it in a dry, air-controlled, dark environment. Light can damage it, humidity can damage it, mold, mildew, bugs, all sorts of things. This collector said, don't play with your cards. That decreases the value. If you can, leave them in the original package. In fact, he said they used to have bubble gum with baseball cards, and then they stopped because the bubble gum was ruining the cards. So they didn't have that anymore. Cleaning, you can't really clean a baseball card. The best thing you can do is send it away to be graded. PSA will put the card in a in a waterproof sleeve. And they say this card in the PSA sleeve could go through the washing machine without damaging the card, but I don't want to test the theory. Storage, the collectors told me, I keep my cards in the official PSA boxes once they've been graded. If they are still raw cards, I keep them in the original box or in a simple plastic sleeve. This one is in a simple plastic sleeve. Can you see that? To eliminate the chance for further damage, I store them in a dry, dark closet. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to go ahead. I think for now, that's what we're going to talk about and have you get started with that. Okay, so I want you to start thinking about what you're collecting, how you're going to collect it, and how you're going to get number 1, 2, and 3 done. Okay, so start thinking about those things. We're going to talk about more of them live and in person tomorrow. And it's been a lot of fun. All right, take care.